has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. Make sure you get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android in the Play Store. It's free. You're going to love it. It's badass. You can watch the network, listen to the network right on the app. You heard me. Follow your favorite hosts like Carver High and Ferrall, and you can you get in-game odds, stories, videos, highlights. It's got it all. The SportsGrid app. Everybody's doing it. They just won't admit it. Hey, did you know we're streaming on X? That's right. All you have to do is go to SportsGrid-Live, and you'll see us streaming 7 days a week on X. Make sure you get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on the Bench podcasts on iTunes. They're available every day. All 3 hours of C2C and a short, 15, 20-minute burst of sports on Ferrall on the Bench that's badass. Both of them available, as I said, on iTunes, wherever you download your podcast. I think you'll like them. Check them out. And don't forget, Monday, 7:30 Eastern, the National Championship in college football. We'll be here 3 to 6 prepping you, getting you geared up for Notre Dame and Ohio State. And then, of course, Sports Rage will do the game 7:30 to midnight right here on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Here we are in the third and final hour on a pain-free Friday, Carver High, rolling along as we get into the NBA.
Programming note, like you were just saying, the Sports Rage is on the radio side, and you get, I believe it's Ben, Kevin, and Joey Prawns on the TV side for the college game.
Whoa,
yes,
I can't
so the
keep up with all
programming
this excitement, honestly.
Yes, so you get the college crew for that game. You talk about a double for me, man. Bills Sunday night, Irish Monday night. That is, there's
what if you get 2 W's, 2 wins?
I got 2 wins. That's going to be that's unbelievable.
Greatest weekend of your life.
Yeah, I like imagine if you made me try to choose. If I had to choose one of them.
Then it gets into you finally admitting if the Bills and the Irish both win on a Sunday and a Monday, that it'll be bigger. That you won't do it, but I know I would. It's bigger than the birth of your children. It really is. It just passes them. Like at some point, seeing all that placenta and everything on the floor in the hospital, it's overrated. You got to go when your teams finally go over the top.
The Bills would have to finish the job and win the whole thing. And if they both won championships in the same year, that would be it might put it up there. It might get them past, put it past everything else if that actually happens, and I do get to see that happen. All right, NBA, let's roll through this. Thunder beat the Cavs last night. They won by 20, but really they beat them by 50. That score is very misleading. They completely throttled them. Your boy SGA had 40 last night. I mean, this dude was going off on TNT.
The Rockets in Sacramento. Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead and promote it. Oh, man! Gilgeous Alexander, spring-loaded. Best of the night from SGA.
Honestly, my man is literally taking over the NBA. It's his world now. I mean, he is so much better than everyone now. It's not even funny. He's better than everybody. I mean, everybody. For his size and his body, and what he weighs and everything else against these monsters. It is so easy for me to sit here and go, oh, Wemby, Embiid, Joker, all of them with their, size. AD, LeBron. LeBron is 3 times his size. He's 6'8", 260. This guy, LeBron James. All these guys are enormous and more powerful. This guy's a skinny runt. And he's absolutely dealing on the NBA. He's the best player in the NBA, bar none, hands down.
I was going to show you this. I don't even know what this guy's saying here, but, you just got to look at him, man. He's so clean. I mean, this guy, look at this guy. This guy's the MVP, SGA.
Nothing's going through my head at all. I'm out there running around, trying to just be aggressive every play, every possession. And at the end of the night, I look up and see where I'm at. And see what I did good, see what I did bad, and I try to get better the next game. There's no there's no like thought process for me. I'm very in the moment when I'm out there on the court, and I think that's why I have the success I do.
He is something else. Like honestly, like there's me going out there today and going 2 for 10, and then there's him going out there and dropping a 40 burger every single night. And he's like, I don't even look at any of it. I just go out and ball. I don't even think of anything. I just keep attacking the rim, and he scores every time he touches the ball. Like, and that that team, honestly, with Hartenstein, Caruso, all the players that they have on that team, it is ridiculous. And they don't even have. Listen, Chet has been out the whole year. When they get Holmgren back, they're going to be even better. I'm telling you. In fact, I'm going to say right now, they're going to beat the Celtics. They're the best team. They're going to win a title. It's coming this spring. Trust me.
Also last night, one other thing you said, the Cavs are interested in Cam Johnson from the Nets, who seems to be one of the most popular guys that's available with the deadline coming up here on February the 6th. So everyone wants to get Cam Johnson in the fold as the Nets strip it down.
Sure. I got 4 left. Time out. It's that I want to see frankly, I'm going to be honest. The best NBA Finals is not the Celtics and the Thunder. It's this rivalry that's starting right now. Cleveland and Oak City. If I could see the Cavaliers knock off the Celtics or the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals and take on the Thunder in a 7-game series, I think it would be absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it would be top shelf status. They've already got something brewing. This rivalry for 2 weeks in a row in the Rocket and at Oak City, it really got the attention it deserved. It got a lot of hype and a lot of press and a lot of TV, and it was national. And those games, I know last night was a blowout, but you could feel it when it started, how good this rivalry can be between these two teams. I'd rather watch the Cavs and Thunder and young, exciting teams like that than the same old Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers that the league's been shoving up our tuchus for 40 years. That's all they ever talk about is those two teams.
No doubt. That's for sure. Suns beat the Wizards 130-123, no cover for the Suns in that game. Pacers beat the Pistons last night. Good win for Indiana, 111-100. Clippers beat Portland. Harden's never missed the playoffs in his career, and now he's got the Clips up to 5th in the West. And the Kings beat the Rockets 132-127. Push there for that one. We already mentioned earlier the Heat don't want Jimmy Butler back. He's eligible to return tonight.
What are they going to do, Mike? They owe him $49 million and $52 million next year. They have to play him.
Yes, he's going to play. I know that. And of course, you always love the anonymous guy, anonymous here, anonymous there. Just come say it. I don't like you, dude. Just got to put your name on it. Go ahead. I mean, we can't get any of these guys on the Heat to
he's literally cancer. He is such a cancer now. And I got to tell you,
ideal.
I don't think he lives up to any of that money. I really don't. He's a waste of time.
No, he has definitely gone in the other direction. All right, we have a bunch of games tonight. We'll come back and rip through them. Orlando's in Boston tonight. How about the T-Wolves and the Knicks at the Garden for that matchup? So we have that going as well. Late night, OKC's in Dallas later on. Brooklyn's in Los Angeles against the Lakers. I'll give you all the numbers on tonight's NBA when we come back.
Yeah, I actually think the best game for my money is the Magic game at the Garden against the Celtics. Banchero's been averaging 25 points a game since he's come back from injury and his oblique tear. And now, if he can go into Boston tonight, they've been playing real average, 7-7 in their last 14. I like the Magic tonight.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
So Carver has a massive gambling problem. He loves betting on golf and occasionally throwing in a couple of cheddar chips on the NBA, like tonight.
Occasionally, that does happen, yes. Orlando is in Boston against the Celtics this evening. Heavy lumber game of the night here. 14.5 for the C's, 213.5 the total.
I honestly think the Magic they have a chance to win the game, let alone cover. Covering 14.5. Listen, the Celtics have been getting beat. They have been playing real terrible basketball, and their coach Mazzulla said it. Like, we're just not playing good right now. Now they're playing tonight at home. Certainly they have the edge, and they got all the star power. But this team they're playing with Banchero is a problem. Give me the Magic in the 14.5. I think they'll be in the game in the fourth quarter with a chance to win.
The T-Wolves are at the Garden against the Knicks tonight. Knicks minus 4.5, 218.5. Of course, these two teams made that big trade over the summer. Cats game time didn't play the other night in Philly. I know no DiVincenzo for Minnesota tonight either, so a lot of the particulars might not even be out there.
Yeah, I'm on the Knicks here tonight at the world's most famous. Come on. I mean, they're laying 4.5 against this team. They are so average this year, it's not even funny. I mean, let's face facts. The T-Wolves last year were legit. And this year, they're so fair to Midland, it's not even funny. Every night, one night to the next, you have no idea what you're getting out of this team. I won't deny Ann Edwards can ball, but he's an isolation player. That's all he does. He comes down and he puts on a show. And they all just stand around watching him. I like the Knicks here tonight because they're dogs.
The Nuggets are in Miami. We already talked about the Butler situation. Nuggets minus 1.5 down in South Beach, 226.5 the total.
I mean, honestly, with all of their turmoil and chaos and problems and the team cancer hanging around, give me the Heat. I'll take it. More problems, give me the Heat.
Raptors are in Milwaukee against the Bucks, minus 11.5 for the Bucks. Giannis looks like he's good to go. 232.5 the total.
The Raptors cover every night. Give me the Bucks and lay the 11. The last two games they played at the Brewtown Fiserv, they have absolutely torched their opponents.
It's not very often that you see a team that's 10-32 laying 11.5 points, but that's what you have tonight for the Jazz and the Pelicans. Now, the Jazz, again, they don't have a lot of guys. No Markkanen, Gessler, Collins, so they're grabbing a big number down here at the smoothie.
Not one guy on the team is playing. Give me the Jazz in 11.5. The water boy will hit a 3 at the buzzer to cover.
Here's one of your favorite teams, the Bulls, at home tonight against Charlotte. Bulls minus 4.5, 236.5 the total.
I have now nominated the Bulls to be the worst team in the NBA and in college basketball. Elon is better than the Bulls. Give me Charlotte on the west side.
Back-to-back for OKC after the win last night. They go to Dallas. Thunder minus 7.5, 224.5 the total.
Dallas lately has water in their ankles like a pregnant woman. Give me the Thunder on the road for another easy evening of finishing off their opponent. Shai Gilgeous with a 37-burger.
Daily double for the Grizzlies. They got to spend a couple extra days at the Riverwalk. They played San Antonio Wednesday night there. They beat them. Now they're back there tonight, laying 2.5 with the 236.5.
Not again. Give me Wemby and the Spurs at home. I went with them the other night and lost. There's no way they're losing both games.
No way. And finally, late night on the left coast at the Crypto, the Nets, who lost by almost 60 to the Clippers the other night, they played the Lakers. Lakers minus 11.5, 217.5 the total.
Give me the Lake Show tonight at the Crypt because the Nets are packing it in. I mean, they got they are literally on the businessman's trip where they just want to drink cocktails in the bar, stay at the Ritz-Carlton, and get out of Dodge.
Unbelievable.
Tank
there it is.
for
You're
Cooper.
night in the NBA.
Tank for Cooper.
Let me try to slide in. So let's get some college rack in. I want to play you a couple of these buzzer beaters quickly if we can. Well, first, Oregon State beat Gonzaga in overtime, 97-89. Nice win for the Beavers in Corvallis. How about Temple beat Memphis, 88-81 at home? Minnesota gets the win over number 20 Michigan, 84-81. It was tied at 81 in overtime on FS1.
A 3 for the lead or the win. Wolf spinning, hanging, scoring with 7 seconds to go.
Watch this.
Minnesota, no timeouts. Patterson bumped. We play on. It's Garcia. Lets it go for the win. Dawson Garcia. Ball game. Gophers walk it off and beat Michigan in overtime.
I mean, it was a 40-footer. It was a 40-foot shot.
It was a bomb. It was a bomb. All these games were close in the Big Ten. Rutgers beat Nebraska 85-82. And you had another buzzer beater in the Northwestern Maryland game. How about Northwestern doing the honors on Big Ten Network?
In the middle of the bunch. Ooh, they missed Ty Beard. To Martinelli for the win. Oh! Martinelli with a catch. They'll review it.
Where's Mike DeCourcy when you need him? For the Big Ten Network.
It for the Cats.
Where's DeCourcy?
There's nothing like when you hear one of those buzzer beater clips and you hear the shot, you hear the buzzer, and it's dead quiet. Everyone in the building's waiting to see what happens. And it goes in, it's just boom, and the whole place goes absolutely nuts. Or if it's the road team, you hear the groan. But everybody goes dead silent when that shot goes up in the air, and you hear that buzzer so clean over on the audio.
I think college is way more exciting than the NBA. I just think it's more fun with the cheerleaders and the student sections and everything. There's none of that in the NBA.
I will give you tonight's games and the big games over the weekend in college rack when we come back. Yes, we only have a few tonight, but a lot of big games this weekend that we can go through.
I mean, Saturdays and Sundays are for, top 25 matchups, baby. Let's get it on. Why not?
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl, but it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, there's some games tonight. Not many of them, but a few of them are pretty decent.
There is a few games tonight of note. Let's see what we have. A10 VCU visiting St. Joe's in Philly tonight. -3.5 for VCU. We have Providence Villanova also in Philly. -9.5 for Nova. How about Indiana on the road in Columbus against Ohio State? Ohio State -7.5. DePaul is at Georgetown this evening. And Iowa, of course, they lost at USC the other night. Tonight they're at UCLA. UCLA laying 6.5.
Well, I think they'll finally get right. They've had a horrible stretch, the Bruins, and Mick Cronin looks like he's ready to jump off a bridge. But I think the Bruins will get it done at Pauley tonight. Iowa will struggle on the road, just like they did against USC, losing by 10. I think Georgetown, DePaul will be closer than 9.5. I mean, DePaul just gave Marquette problems. I think Indiana will get raked at Ohio State. I like the Buckeyes there. I think Indiana sucks. I like both Philly teams. Nova to cover, St. Joe's to cover the 3.5.
There is one other game tonight I wanted to note for you. A really good late-night game in the Mountain West. Boise and New Mexico tonight at the Pit with New Mexico Lobos -3.5. That's an 11 o'clock East tip. That's a good late-night game.
Yeah, they lost on the road the other night by 1, and it was tough. I like them at home tonight at the Pit to get by Boise State. It won't be easy, 3 and a hook. I don't like that number. It's relatively dangerous. But Saturday, there's some games I want to dip into with you for sure.
All right, let me give you a little snippet of what's happening here on Saturday. It starts right out of the gate. I mean, high noon. This game's before all the football. You can take this game in before any of the football even starts. 2 top 10 teams, Alabama and Kentucky. Noon tip there. Creighton visiting UConn. That's also a noon tip game that you can watch. Auburn and Georgia, a 1 o'clock on a Saturday. Kansas State, Kansas, always fun. Purdue, Oregon. Tennessee, Vandy. Texas, Florida. The Egg Bowl on the court. Ole Miss at Mississippi State. LSU, right. Texas A&M. Good Saturday slate.
All right, so I like Kentucky at Rupp, lay in the bucket. I like Creighton and 6.5 in stores. That's where they're playing that game, at UConn in stores. I like Auburn to win in Athens over Georgia. I'm laying the 5.5. I like Marquette at home, laying 9.5 against Xavier. I like Oregon in Eugene with a game that Dr. Zhivago's going to. They're laying 2 and a hook. I think Wisconsin will go out to USC and lose. I like Florida at home over Texas. I like Tennessee to win at Vandy. I like Iowa State to win and cover in Morgantown at the Coliseum. I like Mississippi State at home. And I'm leery, but Duke, I like on the road at BC. I'm leery of Gonzaga covering 13 and a hook against Santa Clara. It's like Gonzaga doesn't cover ever anymore against anybody. And then LSU A&M, I like the Aggies in College Station to cover and win.
And one really good game on Sunday, and this is also a noon East tip before all the football. Illinois and Michigan State, who have both been playing outstanding, they get together in East Lansing. You've got Northwestern Michigan on Sunday as well, TCU Baylor. So there's a bunch of good games on Sunday, too, before the football starts.
Mike, I think Michigan State and Illinois will be fabulous. It'll be tough to win that game for the Spartans, but they are at the Breslin, and I think they'll win. Michigan will definitely win at Chrysler against Northwestern. Baylor's going to beat TCU and Wacko as sure as I'm sitting here. And Memphis will win on the road at Charlotte easily.
There you go. Good weekend of college rack that we have coming your way.
Yes, sir.
I do have some hockey. Now, you're going to talk
Everybody loves hockey.
to Denny here in a couple minutes. Let me at least play you this Ovi goal before you talk to him because we got our boy. Now, Ovi, this is a scoreless game in overtime. Ovechkin with the winner. Our boy Joe Beninati on the Monumental Sports Network down. Here we go.
What a fantastic defensive play by Rasmus. 2-on-1 with Ovechkin. Ovechkin fires. He scores! Alex Ovechkin, an overtime hero in Ottawa.
You hear him pounding the tables in the press box. Your boy Joe B getting involved. We love Joe Beninati and Ovi. 21 away from the great one. It's gonna happen.
Look, how crazy is it that it's gonna happen? It might happen this year. I think it's gonna happen too. And he missed like a month for breaking his leg, and he's still gonna break it this season, which would be absolutely bonkers. I think he can get 21 goals. Now, remember, they're going to be off for a couple weeks with this Four Nations dopey thing, but I still think you got enough. You got half a season left. He's been so good, I think he can get 21 by the time we get to the end.
Let's just face facts. He's a freak.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl, but it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically, but mentally by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I mean, it really is amazing when you think about it, Mike, this guy Ovechkin, his career and all the things that you said, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky is truly remarkable. And, what's crazy is that, I've had this affinity for him based on the rivalry with Sid Crosby. The Penguins star and this guy Ovechkin are tied at the hip. That's all there is to it. All these years, it's really been about those two guys in the NHL. They've been, let's face facts, the two best players in the NHL. You can't deny it. I don't deny McDavid's speed and talent, but he doesn't have all the rings. And Ovechkin's got a ring, and Crosby's got 3 rings and an Olympic gold medal. It's those two guys that have run the NHL for the last 20 years.
It certainly has. And I was looking at kind of the numbers. I wanted to see how realistic it is for Ovi. So the Caps have 38 games left on their schedule. 38 games that they have left to go this season. He has 21 goals so far, and he's played in 29 games. Remember, he missed a bunch of games so far this year. 37 games, excuse me, Scotty. 37. So he needs to go 21 in 37 games if he stays healthy and he plays all of them. He has 21 right now, and he's played in 29 so far this year. So he just has to go, he could go a little bit less than the pace that he's been on through the first 29 games, and he can get it this season. I think very attainable.
I mean, he's got 21 and 29, and he needs 21 in 37.
37. Yep.
I mean, and you know what? It's like challenging a guy to do it. I think it spurns him on even further, right? Like he's completely going to be into the fact that people are going to say he can't do it in 37 games, and he'll do it in 37 games. This guy will make it a mission from God to make it happen. I think he's going to try to score every night. And when they are on the power play, this guy is an absolute wheelhouse sniper. That's all there is to it. They set it all up for him to score.
And I was saying this earlier on the NHL show. They're now 7 points up on the rest of the Eastern Conference. Forget the division. The whole conference, they're 7 points clear. I don't think people have really started to believe yet that they're a really good team, but I think you need to start actually believing it when it comes to the Caps, Scotty. They've been that good so far this year.
Well, let's ask God himself. We've got Elvis on Coast to Coast. Thank God. I have no idea what happened, but we always end up finding him. Thank goodness for that. It's Denny Bernstein in the fourth period in NHL radio on Sirius XM. You hear us talking about Alex Ovechkin.
Yep.
We're talking about trying to get 21 and 37, which I think it'll be it's a game to him. You want to play with me? You don't think I can score 21 goals? Watch this.
Right.
And then I said that he's played with Crosby, the two most significant players, bar none, in the NHL, bar none, over the last 20 years, with all their cups and all their glory and the gold medals, and watching these two guys tied at the hip. It's those two players that have run the National Hockey League for the last 20 years. And seeing him do this, as a Penguin fan, I'm actually turned on by it because I respect him that much.
Yeah, these are the two generational talents of that generation. Like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, whoever's coming next. That's next. In the moment, these are the two generational players because they've won. Connor might win this year. The team looks really, really good. But you're right. Sid wants his cup. And I think the fact that both teams have won. So if you're a Caps fan, you're probably not hating on the Penguins because they've won 3 and you got yours. Same thing with the Penguins. I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time. And I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because Scotty, he's not going to stop shooting. He's not going to be looking to distribute the puck. He's not going to be a facilitator. Every time he gets the puck on the stick, he's looking to shoot and score. And so because of that, and because the team is playing so good, and they're an excellent team. This is not an excellent start. It's an excellent team. But because of that, he gets the freedom to shoot the puck whenever he wants because the team, whatever he does, is going to keep winning.
We talked about yesterday, their odds are dramatic to me, that they're not favored to win anything. It's still Florida, and I like the Capitals' odds for at least a couple shekels because I mean, they're laying in the weeds and they're this dangerous, and everybody thinks it's going to be somebody else.
Right.
What do you think of their chances, the way they played? And Carver High said it best. They're not just up in their division. They're up in the Eastern Conference running away.
Yeah, they're the President's Trophy winner right now. So if you get them at a price, is it not worth a bet? Of course it is at this point, the way they're playing. You don't have to bet on this team to win the next 4 to 5 championships. You're betting on this team to win the Stanley Cup this year. Do they have a legitimate chance? Absolutely. Because, yeah, Florida might rise up, and when the playoffs start at game 83, they might start playing the way they played last season. But, Scotty, they've played a lot of hockey. Like, they were in the Cup final 2 years ago. They won it all last year. How much can you play before you get exhausted and can't do it? So, yeah, Washington's a legitimate team without question, because you only have to do is play well in the next 40 games and then find a way to win 16 games in the postseason. It can be done. It has been done. Are they the prohibitive favorites? No, of course not, because you have bigger names, bigger brand names other than Ovechkin on a team. You couldn't name 3 other Caps, probably. So that's probably why the price is higher than it should be. This is a legitimate, dangerous team, Scotty, from the team I've seen so far.
So I said yesterday on the show that I believe that the Edmonton Oilers can win the Stanley Cup. I know they lost the Stanley Cup. I know they were down 3-0. They came back. They lost in 7. It is what it is. And that they were down 3-0 in that game in Colorado, came back and they won that game 4-3. Yeah. I think, for my money, they're still the most dangerous team in the West. I respect LA. I respect Vegas. I respect a lot of teams, Dallas and Colorado and, even Minnesota. But Minnesota's not winning the Stanley Cup. No. The Edmonton Oilers, to me, stand out as the most talented team. And they say, oh, well, they played all this hockey. Like you just said, Florida played all this hockey. I don't care how much hockey they play. These guys are badasses. They'll play that much hockey again and go to the final.
They played a lot of hockey. They lost game 7. They're still motivated. Connor's still motivated. And, I saw the other night against L.A., it was 0-0 in the third period. They put out Connor and Leon on 4-4. Goal, game over. Connor scored the goal. So, yeah, it's still a very dangerous team. They just signed John Klingberg, who's probably going to pair with Darnell Nurse on the second pair. So, yeah, this is a very dangerous team that can certainly emerge, because I can't tell you this team that, without question could beat the Oilers in a 7-game series. Like most games would either be a toss-up or they'd be favored. So, yeah, they can still absolutely win. They're still that good because of 97 and 29. The question I have about the Oilers is their play on the wing. Are the wingers going to be good enough? They don't have, they don't have Evander Kane. He's going to be out for a little while. They don't have a true sniper on the wing. Zach Hyman's going to score 35 goals, but he's not a dangerous scorer coming off the wing. The only flaw I see on that team is maybe they don't get enough production from the wing. And you mentioned Colorado last night. You know why Colorado lost? Because they had Connor and Leon at 1-2 in the center. Colorado has McKinnon, and they have Casey Middlestad, who's now a 3C the way he's playing. They can't match up in the middle. And that's why Edmonton Oilers got to the Stanley Cup, because these teams can't match up with Connor and Leon in the middle. And they're getting pretty good goaltending from Skinner. And they do decide to play defense sometimes as well.
Do you think Winnipeg, because I still think Dallas and Colorado and even LA, to me, can be as dangerous or more so than Winnipeg. Winnipeg, to me, is on top. Everybody thinks they're going to go because they're on top. They always fold up shop.
That's the problem. They have a great goaltender who played great last year in the regular season. It got to the playoffs, and he couldn't stop a beach ball. And he couldn't defend. And that's the issue. Scotty, it depends on a matchup. Like, that was a terrible matchup against Colorado. If they get Minnesota in the first round, let's say it's a 2-3 and Colorado wins a division, could they win? Yeah, at that point they could win, but it depends upon matchups. I don't know about this team because they are so great in the regular season, Scotty, but they have won one playoff game in the last couple of seasons. That's not good enough. So I'm going to defer on them. They have all the tools, but I'm not sure they can do it in the postseason.
I hope you're safe from all these fires,
yes,
you and Patty. I hope you're not in that danger zone.
Nope,
God bless everybody in Los Angeles. I love you, Elvis. Dennis Bernstein.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today. And stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically but mentally, by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyway, I was talking golf with Carver. Wasn't Dubner like in the lead yesterday? What happened to him today?
Who?
Who was?
Joe Damon. Joel Damon. Joel Damon.
All right.
Yeah, Damon's like 8 back now. He's you just, when you're in a birdie fest like this and you shoot 8 under one day, you got to shoot 8 under again. Like you can't tall off because these courses, 2 of these 3 courses are too easy. Guys are going to slip behind. All right, we have hockey.
Everybody loves hockey.
Before I get to the Penguin game quickly, what did Gino, these guys rob his rings and put them under his dining room table? Like he found the rings in his house? Like
I don't know.
What was that about?
I'm just glad that he has his Stanley Cup rings. Maybe he thought they were gone and they weren't. Who knows? I don't know the story. I just know that he has his Stanley Cup ring, so that's all that matters.
The Penguins are in Buffalo tonight. Now, as you know, the Penguins have been struggling as the Sabres are favored tonight. I got him right now minus $120. There was 132 this morning. Penguins plus 110, 6.5. I love this over, Scotty. Yesterday we did that board. These are 2 of the top 3 over teams in the NHL. So I'm going up, and away tonight.
All right, so go over, and I'll still take Buffalo. The Penguins suck.
And in the other game, Vegas in Carolina. Great game. 2 really good teams. Carolina minus 150, Vegas plus $128.
I like the Canes at home in Raleigh. I think they're just as good as Vegas, and they're playing on home ice, so I'll take a shot with the Canes in Raleigh.
There you go. Only 2 games this evening in the NHL.
All right. So why don't we throw it to our boy Rich Sermonello and get ready for this title game Monday night?
Hey, Scotty, we're down to one final game in college football for 2024-25. Bit of a tear in my eye. I mean, we're going to be in a drought for about 7.5 months before we talk about actual games. Lot to cover in the offseason. But first, national championship Monday night in Atlanta, ND, Ohio State. There's a lot I like about this game, just from a personal standpoint. It's got a throwback feel to it. Rust Belt teams, traditional powerhouses. I love the fact that this game comes down to defense, in-game coaching. Quarterbacks are good, gritty, but they're not going to be future first, second rounders, maybe third-day picks for Riley Leonard and Will Howard. So I love this matchup. Let's go over the game itself. Ohio State minus 8.5. I like the Buckeyes. Now, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be competitive. I think this will be a rock fight similar to Friday night's Cotton Bowl between Ohio State and Texas. Not a ton of points in this game. 2 outstanding defenses, extremely well coached. But worst unit on the field Monday night will be the Notre Dame offense. I've talked about this in the past. I have concerns about the passing game with Riley Leonard, the lack of perimeter playmakers. Jeremiah Love, Scott, their best offensive weapon, still not 100%. Saw that last week against Penn State. So I don't know how ND scores consistently. Maybe it'll take the defense. Maybe it'll be special teams like they had against Georgia when Jaden Harrison took a third quarter kickoff back for a touchdown. It's going to take that. I don't expect to see extended drives. So ND struggling to score. Don't expect to see a lot of points from Ohio State. In fact, I think this will look a lot like the Ohio State-Texas game, somewhere in the neighborhood of 24-14, 27-17, close. Ohio State pulls away late. I like the Buckeyes laying 8.5. But again, I think you'll have to sweat it out in the second half. Now, some prop bets I like. Jeremiah Smith, phenomenal freshman. I'm taking him under 81.5 yards. We saw what happens to the Ohio State offense when defenses bracket Jeremiah Smith. Will Howard just didn't look comfortable against Texas. ND's got the best pass efficiency defense in the country. I think Jeremiah stays under 81.5. Let's get real proppy here. I love ND getting 1.5 points in the third quarter. This year, halftime adjustments, great coaching staff. This year, 12-0-3 in the third quarter. They have not lost the third quarter all season. Give me the Irish plus 1.5 points to come out of the halftime break and beat Ohio State in the third quarter. Ohio State wins a national championship. Ryan Day gets a redemption. But listen, great season for the Irish. I think it'll be fun Monday night.
What could be worse than everything that he just said? Like all of this, like it's a piece of cake for Ohio State. They're going to roll Notre Dame. Notre Dame has all these problems. Fair enough. I respect Rich fully. Locked in with Rich. He's my boy. But honestly, like acting like Notre Dame has all these problems and they suck now all of a sudden is hilarious to me. That they're going into this game. They have been kicking everyone's teeth in. They finished off Penn State. They're in the title game for a reason, because they're good. They're going to show up Monday night. I guarantee it. You think this is some walk in the park for Ohio State because they lit up? That's what people are doing. They're gauging this on the Oregon game at the Rose Bowl, that this team is unbeatable because we saw them lay the biggest egg against Michigan you ever saw in your life. Let's see what they do when Notre Dame punches them in the throat, right in the Adam's apple. Let's go.
Yeah, I do not agree.
There are 2 losses.
I do not agree with Rich.
Shut up.
We are going to do this, of course, pillar to post on Monday, but when Irish eyes are smiling on Monday night down in Atlanta, let's go, baby. Going to be tough.
Touchdown, Jesus.
Going to be real tough, just like the Penn State game was tough. I think it's going to be very difficult.
No,
but I do think they're going to get it done. And if you want to go to the game,
that's
in case you want to get down to Atlanta,
that's what's difficult.
Ticket prices are soaring. Average price around $2,500 now to get into the national championship game. Cheapest tickets around $1,800 I've seen. So pay a pretty penny if you want to go see the Irish and the Buckeyes on Monday night.
Well, I've said this even today on the show. Like, what they're doing is the NFL and college football and the NBA and soon enough the NHL, they are pricing the average fan right out of the business. You're not welcome at the title game on Monday night because you can't afford it. They only want the rich and famous at their games. People with tons of money get to go to the game. Nobody else gets to go to the game because you can't afford it. And that, to me, is absolute a travesty and bullshit.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl, but it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
If I were that team and I was the coach, I would have just said, you know what? I'm leaving your ass at home, and you can wait. Well, you can get your own damn plane and fly it to Philadelphia, and then I'll still sit your ass. Zion's got to get himself together on the court, both physically but mentally, by being engaged and being on time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Robert High, I'll be rooting for your Bills on Sunday. Good luck. Everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers. How about some baseball? Me and you have talked about this Pete Alonso stuff for the last few weeks. He is still unsigned as we get closer to spring training. And reports are now saying that the Mets expect him to sign somewhere else. And that's probably because, and who knows if these offers are real, it could be the Boris team putting it out there. Allegedly, the Mets offered him like 3 years, $70 million or something like that, like a real lowball offer. But I think we've reached the part of the negotiations where everyone's trying to make each other look bad. But here's what I would say to you. I don't think this guy Stearns, who runs the Mets, I don't think he ever intended on bringing Alonso back. I don't think he ever had him in his plans, and it's just playing out that way.
I don't either. I mean, I actually believed more so that he'd go to the Yankees a couple months ago than ever back to the Mets. They gave all their money to Juan Soto, and nobody else is getting jack. These deals for these bums they signed today are laughable. The Winker deal,
the Wink
Never
man,
a Weaver nobody's ever heard of. AJ Minter, who the F is that?
Well, yes, they did bring the Wink man back. 1 year, $8 million. AJ Minter, 2 years, 22. He's been with the Braves the last couple of years, so they take a piece out of Atlanta's pen. Whatever. But, yes, still no Pete Alonso. I did see this story today. It might have been Bob Nightingale brought this up, or maybe not, that the Blue Jays would sign Alonso, play him at first, move Vlad back to third, and that way, if Vlad leaves after next year, they'll have Alonso to play at first base. So there's some talk that maybe the Blue Jays are going to get involved with Pete Alonso now. So we shall see how that goes. UFC 311 is tomorrow night. Not a great card, as we've discussed to begin with. And today they lost their main event. That's not happening. Of course, Makhachev supposed to fight. He was supposed to fight this Sarukian. He's out. He's finished. He's hurt.
Bad back.
So,
got a backache.
So this, I don't know, what's this guy's name?
Renato
Moicano is going to step in. And Dana, it took him 4 minutes after it was announced the guy was out to, this guy's tough. He's going to come in. He's going to get his ass beat. Mafia said he's minus 1,200 Makhachev now in this main event. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
And there goes their sales. There's no one buying this garbage.
I don't know if they had him anyway.
Sarukian fighting. No one was going to buy it.
The bad card before that. Chris Weidman has retired from the UFC.
Long
I believe
Island's
Mafia said.
finest.
Long Island's fine. Same hometown as me. Baldwin, New York guy, Chris
There you
White.
go.
Went to my same high school.
Great
Erling
guy.
Haaland. Erling Haaland, your boy, with Man City, a record 9.5 year deal. That's 9.5 years. The
He'll be
numbers are not
34.
known. He'll be 34. One of the most lucrative deals in sports history. When we get those numbers, I bet that they're massive when it comes out. Big deal for Dawn Staley, South Carolina women's coach. $25 million extension. Richest deal in women's hoops history for Dawn. So
3
congratulations
titles
there.
and 6 Final Fours.
Dickie V, back behind the mic. He'll call his first game after beating cancer for the 4th time.
Good for him.
January 25th, Duke and Wake Forest. He's been off the year since 2023.
Congratulations to Dick Vitale, what he's been through. I'm a huge fan. I think he's great at calling college basketball games. He knows more college basketball in one hand than most people know in their entire lives. Here's the Varela finish. Gators assistant coach Torian Green had a sexual assault complaint filed against him. They're going to let him keep coaching while he's under investigation for, how should I say it, rape. A polar vortex will blast the U.S. next week with freezing temperatures. I've already been freezing my ass off, and now it's about to get worse. I hope it gets worse in Buffalo on Sunday night for the Ravens with a polar vortex in their arse. 2 teen girls and a pair of 18-year-old boys are arrested for holding a 13-year-old girl hostage in a New Jersey hotel room. What is happening when teenagers are taking hostages? An unruly Jack in the Box customer that was going ballistic on her boys over missing curly fries gets punched in the face and dealt with accordingly. I love it when people think they can get a hold of things in the fast food restaurant until someone Jack in the Boxes them right in the throat. GTD is next. Get my app, search for Ferrall. You'll see it. It's badass. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the divisionals. We'll see you Monday at 3 on Coast to Coast.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.